are again. On a bar, they said.
Own a bar, they said.
Life of two bar owners. Well, we're two people who own one bar together. I started thinking about something, Josh.
Not in a weird way.
By the way,
What's that?
Week in review. I didn't throw up this week.
Hey,
due to drinking.
congratulations.
Or really any other reason. I also haven't drank since the last podcast. Trying to cut down a little bit.
Why?
Yeah, good call. Here's to that.
Hey,
don't ever
here's to
stop.
your first
Don't ever stop.
drink in a week. Bert Crusher would be so unhappy with you right now.
Yep. But I started thinking,
That's fantastic.
it really is.
Yeah.
Skinny bitches, in case you're wondering. Deep Eddy Cranberry and a little Sprite Zero. Doesn't need anything else. The perfect pool or outside drink. It's getting into springtime.
Yeah. Sounds like you are doing an infomercial right now.
I know. And I'm really excited about a couple of things I want us to talk about. Deep Eddy, we're waiting.
Yeah.
We alluded to it on one of the previous podcasts. You know, we are internationally famous on a couple of different podcasts.
Yeah.
But there was one thing that I thought we needed to deep dive into.
Okay.
And when we were first developing our cocktail menu specifically for Commonwealth, the bar that we own and run together, I made a couple of things. And when you're developing a cocktail menu, you kind of want something for everybody. And you've got to recognize that you're not going to love every drink.
Sure.
But boy, did I make a couple of ratchet drinks. So I started thinking about what are the best and, more importantly, worst drinks ever created
Okay.
that we've seen people ask for. Somehow people enjoy them. You can just automatically tell that person's an idiot, right? That's a strong word.
Or raging alcoholic.
Raging alcoholic. But I'm going to lead us off.
Okay.
One of the things that I made for us was a take on a Boulevardier, okay? And it's in the Negroni family. And I'm like, listen, we need to have something like this on the menu because Negronis are kind of a thing sometimes.
Yeah.
I still haven't been around when anybody has ever ordered one from our bar personally.
No.
But I started thinking, dude, that Negroni that I made, the Boulevardier.
It was actually a take on Boulevardier. It was the Man About Town.
Yes, it was.
Because you used bourbon instead of the traditional additive.
Yep.
And it is probably still to this day the worst drink I've ever had.
It is. And I don't think we could recreate that amount of awfulness.
No, nor would we want to. It was equal parts stank and terrible and asshole and like it. Not that I know,
Yeah, what stank asshole tastes like.
Right. But it was, easily the worst drink. Never want to have it again. Never want to try it again. Never want to experiment with it again, ever.
What else have you seen, ordered? Have you tried? Have you been around people and you're like, that's a no, ma'am?
I don't like vermouth.
True.
And so this is going to be controversial because there are quite a few people that like a Manhattan.
Yep.
And I acknowledge you can like a Manhattan. I do not. I do not like a Manhattan at all. It's way too punchy in the face, especially with vermouth.
The only ingredients in it are alcohol.
Yeah. Which brings me to the next drink. When somebody orders a martini and they'll say dry or they'll say, no this or no that. And you're like, wait, all you want is vodka? Like in a martini glass, just vodka with 3 olives. That's what you want. And they're like, yeah, that's dry or that's whatever. And you're like, okay, I don't give a shit what you call it. It is vodka in a glass. That's it.
So this is where we're going to differ a little bit. First of all, to the Manhattan. That is definitely whoever's ordering that and drinking it is an alcoholic. Functioning or not.
Yes.
But when you mix that much rye whiskey and that much vermouth, dash or two of bitters, and you shake it and you strain it and you pour it in a beautiful glass, it's a gorgeous looking drink.
Yeah.
Really pretty looking drink. But it tastes like I imagine mid-grade unleaded tasting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally agree.
Like
maybe premium unleaded because
it might be because usually it's not a cheap drink either. If you use, decent rye whiskey.
Whistle Pig 18.
Yep. And we have a friend's dad. It's very big in dads, not like cool dads, but like the old school retro
Older
Mad
guys.
Men era dads.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. The 60s, 50s and 60s.
Mad Men era dads. Yeah.
That's who it is.
Yeah.
But here's where we're going to differ a little bit. Now, I hate a gin martini. I've grown to like a few cocktails with gin, the right gin.
Okay.
But
Agreed.
it's straight. We've got another dear friend at the bar. Great people. I'm not going to mention them by name because I don't know how comfortable they are about us talking about them specifically.
That's safe.
But he always drinks a beer, and she always drinks a crystal clear gin martini. Okay?
Yes.
Gin martini made with vermouth. And I think that's what we found about a lot of these drinks that collectively we do not like is they share an ingredient.
Yeah.
And vermouth, I think for both of us, is one of those.
Vermouth is one, and Campari is the other one.
Campari,
Yeah.
which your Negronis and your martinis.
Yeah.
But where I differ, and I still hate a gin martini, I think people are trying to be something. Not our friend in particular,
not
but I
her,
think
but-
some people who order a gin martini have watched James Bond a little too much.
Shaken, not stirred.
Yeah. But I do love, one of my favorite cocktails is a super, super dirty Tito's martini. And all that's in it, 3 ounces of Tito's, 2 ounces of olive brine. Shake it until there's ice shards on the top of the glass. And then
It's so
drop
bad.
3 blue cheese olives in there. Now, it's a very specific drink for me because I usually only get it at a steakhouse, like ahead of my steak.
Might as well just
usually the only
drink
time.
pickle juice. Just go drink. Do you do that when you're cramping? Is that the point?
You do, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one to,
It's an anti-cramp
it is.
drink.
Yeah. For all my cramps.
Yeah. It's kind of like a, what do they call it after the diuretic or the,
Yeah.
is that what's the drink after you eat that's supposed to help get things moving?
No, that's about it because it's like a coffee drink or something like that.
Yeah.
Or if you're at like a Japanese steakhouse, it's that green ice cream that they serve that's supposed to get things moving down there.
Yeah.
That may be a different pod on what drinks cause you to take massive shits.
Maybe that's why the Japanese are traditionally healthy, because they eat and drink stuff after they eat that makes them go.
Dude.
Doesn't have long to like absorb into your body and make you fat.
Other than sumo guys, you don't see a whole lot of fat Japanese guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Maybe there's
need to
something
talk
to
about
that.
this.
Yep.
Okay.
That's a whole different
Yeah.
pod. But I knew you and I would differ on the dirty martini, but I won't get a martini that has vermouth in it.
Yeah.
Like I hate to be that guy, but if I order a dirty martini, I will hey, almost equal parts Tito's vodka and olive brine.
brine.
That's it. I don't need any vermouth, anything else in that thing. But I knew we did agree on anything with Campari. I'll tell you one that I don't like that is popular in the springtime and summertime is an Aperol Spritz.
I agree.
I think it's one of those things that somehow it tastes a little dirtish.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about the Italians.
Dude, we were
Because Aperol and Campari, like Italian aperitif cocktails, I don't know what it is about that flavor that makes it seem enjoyable.
We were in Vegas this last weekend. My wife and I celebrating birthdays and doing a little getaway trip. And we went to a really cool cocktail bar in the Venetian. And every middle-aged white chick in there had an Aperol Spritz. And I'm like, I feel like it's like they feel a sense of like they're going to get bullied if they don't order one, or they think it like makes them cool. They're just not great. I'm like, there's so many other, like, get a great Cosmo or do like something that has like some flavor to it or something. But Aperol Spritz, that's on the list. I do not enjoy that.
No, and we're going to get comments on. We've gotten a lot of comments on some specific videos. Most of all being Android users, so we're not going to start that shit again.
Fucking green
But
bubbles, bro.
I think there's people out there that are so tied to a specific cocktail. Like there will be people that chime in on these things and are like, you guys don't know what the hell you're talking about. Aperol Spritzes are fantastic, or gin martinis, or Negronis. I don't trust anybody that orders a Negroni.
Yeah.
Like there's something shady about them.
Yeah.
So you Negroni fans, drop all the hate in the comments. But it's one of those things that I think that you go into a bar, like I take this for example. I didn't know I liked old fashions. we wanted to get kind of into the whiskey game long before the restaurant was ever an idea. But I wanted to like old fashions. I was like, this is kind of the sign of being a grown up. Like if I could have an old fashioned
Sure.
at a nice dinner, oh wow, I've reached kind of a pinnacle of grown upness as a dude. It's a word.
Grown upness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just dictionary.com, that thing. And I think what we serve on our menu, one of our old fashions, is Granddaddy's Old Fashioned. We make it a little sweeter, and I tell people, hey, this is a cocktail for people who don't like bourbon or whiskey.
Yeah.
Right? It's not super forward with an alcohol burn.
Is it softer and a little sweeter than usual?
Exactly. And so I kind of trained myself, and now it's my favorite cocktail besides a whiskey sour, my favorite cocktail. But I'm curious if any of these drinks, do you think you could drink enough Negronis that you could fool yourself into liking it? Have you ever done that with another type of drink or beer? Beer, I think when you're growing up as a kid, like you hate your first sip of beer.
Yeah.
And then you realize if I have two, you can't taste it anymore.
Yeah. Especially if you're drinking Natty Lights and Bush Lights like we were.
The Beast, Milwaukee's Best, fantastic.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong now with a little PBR and Lone Star.
It is interesting you bring up beer because early on, beer, when I first started drinking beer in my teens, because everybody,
Allegedly.
that's what you did.
Allegedly.
In Central Texas. You go to a pasture somewhere.
Find a pasture.
Somebody got some older brother to buy a couple of cases.
Drop the
and you
tailgate down.
Yeah, drop the tailgate down, start a bonfire. And dude, some great memories there. Like definitely not legal and definitely got into some trouble.
Yes.
But lots of great memories.
Do you remember your
in the
first
pasture
drink ever?
parties.
Like not, and it's...
Actually, I do because I was 5 years old. 5 years old. We were at, we
I know
lived
it
in
wasn't
Germany
Colonel.
at the time. It was. We were at a friend's house in Germany. We lived in Giebelstadt. And say that 5 times
That's
fast.
not a word.
Yeah.
Bless
Lived in Giebelstadt. We were at a friend's house for dinner, and the dad was drinking a beer. And I was like, what's that? Because my parents very, very religious. Well, no, I don't know if it's a religious thing or if they just don't, if they just don't like it or don't want it or whatever. They made a decision very long ago that alcohol was absolutely off limits, which, you know what that led me to do in my youth was to test the limits of that. But alcohol off limits. So we're sitting there, guys drinking a beer, and I'm like, what's that? Weissda. And he was like, you know, it's a beer. And I was like, well, can I try it? And he looked at my dad, and my dad was like, and I tried a big old swig of this beer, and it was awful. Like the worst thing I ever tasted, partly because it was beer, but also probably because we were in Germany, and
It's German beer. German beer is
probably
different.
super thick and like just like the, you know, like a Guinness level beer probably. And it was terrible. And so I still remember where we were, that first sip, that first taste. But then, you know, fast forward 10 or 11 years and peer pressure and all the things, and then you get into beer. But when I really started drinking beer in my early 20s or so, legally, it was Coors Light. It was always Coors Light in a bottle because that was the one that I'm like, okay, this is
Tastes
not
like
bad.
water.
Yeah,
Tastes
this is not
closest
bad.
to water.
The more you drink, the more you're like, okay, now I need something with like a little bit of flavor.
Yeah.
Like I'll still drink a Mick Ultra if we're doing something outside because it's so light. And, you know, Coors Light always has a place in my heart. But the banquet, you know, you get into some stuff like Creeks Don't Rise, our friends down at Barrow. You get into Pale Rider, our friends over at Bold Republic. Like you start to get a little flavor in your beer and you're like, oh, I actually enjoy that
good.
now.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a sign that I'm also advancing in my grown-upness.
See?
knows?
We're making that a word, damn it. So I remember the Whitmans had family reunions every year. We'd always be out at some lake because we always had a fish fry. So whatever catfish that we caught, we were going to fry it for one night of the reunion. And I remember my two uncles, Mike and Steve, they'd get around with all the older guys. I had an uncle D Bubby, Shane, R.I.P., granddaddy, of course. And it was interesting. I would find myself hanging around with those guys. And my family threw bones. Okay. Dominoes.
Love it.
Like the padded little card table.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Lawn chairs that were the braided kinds that were all different colors. And I'll never forget, because I think as a kid who's never tried it, you see adults and you're like, dude, that's cool. They're drinking a beer.
Yeah.
Choking down a heater, whatever it may be.
Or heater
Yeah.
after heater.
Marlboro Reds, it was Benson and Hedges menthols. But I would see my Uncle Mike and Steve, and I'm like, hey, give me a I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Give me a drink.
Give me a drink.
Yeah. And I had to have been probably 9 or 10. And it was a Coors Yellow Belly banquet, the banquet of beers. And I did probably what you did. You make a face,
Yeah.
right? Vinegar face, like, that's disgusting. How can you say you like it? There's no chance that that's actually good
Right.
and you think it's right. But then I remember my first drink that I held in my hand
Okay.
in a pasture party, allegedly 14 years old, Georgetown, Texas. So that would have made me a freshman or sophomore, somewhere around there. And we had gotten it from one of our buddies' older brothers.
Yep.
Right?
That's how it works.
Private land, didn't drive. We actually camped out there in tents.
Yes.
Big bonfire. It was great. Which I don't know if drinking is still cool to kids nowadays. I'm a little bit out of touch. But anyways, what we had were Bartles and James wine coolers and Zima.
Dude.
And one of my buddies was like, hey, take this Zima. We got a bunch of Jolly Ranchers.
Jolly Ranchers.
Put
You
a
can make
green
it any
Jolly
flavor you
put
want.
a green Jolly Rancher,
Yep.
a cherry Jolly Rancher in the neck of that Zima. You'll never know that it had alcohol in it.
Yeah.
And then my affinity, I think, for drinking, which might have taken too far there, but I think part of it's because, oh shit, it's illegal. I'm kind of a gangster now. Might as well be on Sons of Anarchy. But that was my very first drink, and I loved it. But I still hated beer.
Yeah.
I didn't drink beer probably until college, and you're like, wait, I have to pay for this on my own?
Yeah.
Like, no, you learn to like it real fast, or you take a couple of down real quick,
Yep.
so you don't taste it anymore. And you're right. Beer was one of those things that I think has absolutely grown on you.
Yeah.
You get into the lighter beers first. I'm curious if this is like this for everybody, or if some people just like beer all the time from the time they were 10 years old. Curious if it's the same way in other states too. Like Texas, you go to a pasture to do a lot of things, and drinking was absolutely at the top of that list.
And still is.
Still is. Like,
You're out on land or you're out on the lease or you're doing whatever, like having a cold beer in the cooler. Hell yeah.
hiding from Popo, Churchill.
What?
It's fine. That's a different pod. But could you then drink enough Negronis? Could we make a version of Negroni that still had all the
Yes,
elements?
We could. It would just have a shit ton of simple in it. Other things that flavors that overpower the Negroni. Sure. Yeah, we could do that. But could we drink a proper Negroni. enough?
To like it.
Probably. Like if you were like, hey, I'm not going to drink anything else for the next 3 months. If I want to drink, the only drink I'm going to allow myself to have is Negroni. But why the hell would you do that?
Right.
Like, nobody wants to do that, to force yourself to like a drink. Drink what you like when you like.
That's the motto of our bar. How
Yeah.
you like. Now, you might get made fun of.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You might, and deservedly so in a lot of instances.
Yeah.
You want to pull down some Pappy, throw a little splash of soda water on there, put a little Dr. Pepper in
I
it.
will happily pour that for you.
Happily, because it's $150 for an ounce and a half. So
And
yes.
How did Pappy used to drink his Pappy?
Yes. With soda waters.
Yeah.
Come on. So that was one, and kind of dovetailing into this, in the last whiskey game, when we started kind of this whiskey game 5-6 years ago, we started finding cocktails made with whiskey that we liked. The old fashions, we developed the greatest drink of all time, the Esquire, the Black Betty, little fruity takes on types of whiskey sours.
Essentially a bourbon smash where you mix bourbon, your choice, whiskey, bourbon, whatever, with syrups and purees that add that soft, that sweeter tone, that fruity tone, and it is freaking fantastic.
Perfectly balanced when you mix it with bourbon, and another great cocktail for people who don't think they like whiskey or bourbon yet.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
And hey, a lot of R&D went into developing that specific cocktail.
You're right.
A lot. And
A lot of poolside drinks were
Yep.
made. A lot of experimentation was done. It matters the amounts of lime juice or topo toppers or simple that you use. Do you use simple?
Right.
Depending on the tartness of the puree or the juice that you're using. So it's literally one of my favorite things.
It is.
What we need to do on one of these episodes is we need to make on camera our favorite drinks.
Next week, guys, Josh and Jared own a bar. They said, make our favorite drinks that we currently serve at the bar.
Hell yeah.
Because
And we don't care. We will share the recipe.
No,
like 98%,
98% of our cocktail menu is developed around your pool or
Yeah.
around the smoker,
Yep.
right? But I started thinking about that because there was a time we got our TABC license very early on purpose ahead of our construction and building. Number one, because when you're filing for permits like that, you never know how long they can take.
Right.
We actually got it pretty quickly within 90 days or so. And we knew for the type of bar we wanted to open that we wanted to build an incredible library of bourbons and whiskeys. And to do that, based on allocations, we needed to start buying. We ended up buying 11 months ahead of us ever opening.
The great state of Texas is so good at so many things.
Yes.
But the allocation of liquor is not one of those things.
Third party state, look it up. It makes it a little bit of a challenge. And we knew that going into it. So we gave ourselves plenty of time. We've got what I believe in Central Texas is one of the greatest bourbon and whiskey collections in any restaurant or bar.
I agree.
But then I started thinking, because before we built our bars kind of library, if I said, Josh, I want you to build your own home bar, okay? You got a lot of women in your house. You entertain a lot. So it can't just be straight bourbon and whiskey.
Right.
But I said, hey, we're going to give our people the top 5 spirits to build our home bars with. What are you picking from the liquor store?
So is it spirits only, or is it certain labels?
Both. So you're not going to say vodka, whiskey. No. I want the label of what you're going to build, what you've grown to like. And I think, again, went through a lot of R&D to pick them. So let's go one for one.
Women are involved.
Women are around. And if you and I
you're
both
in
know,
Texas, Tito's is number one.
you have to.
You have to have
The
Tito's
copper top.
vodka.
The copper
And
top.
you can throw in things like, you can have Goodnight Loving, which is also a Texas product, which we love.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Deep Eddy.
You're going to throw in, Deep Eddy, because Deep Eddy has so many flavors, though. So it's like if you're just going to pick one it's
label,
hard to pick
one bottle.
just one flavor of Deep Eddy. But if you go Tito's, you can add whatever syrups and juices and all the things. So Tito's is the basis for every white women drink ever.
Yep.
So Tito's has to be on the list.
Because you could make now it's not the Skinny Bee, because it's Deep Eddy is the cranberry, so it's flavored cranberry vodka.
But you can use cranberry juice and do
Tito's soda.
Yeah.
Tito's is keto.
Yeah.
So if anybody's carb free or gluten free or something like that, it's a great drink. My wife drinks a lot of Tito's sodas, 3 limes. Makes a great mule. So at our bar, if you ask for a mule, we're going to serve it with Tito's. It's kind of synonymous, and both great branding and great product. It's like, no, just Google that. Google became the word for search.
Right.
Well, if someone wants a mule, it's like Tito's. Yeah. I want a Tito's tonic. I want a Tito's
They
whatever.
don't say, give me a vodka soda. They say, give me a Tito's
Exactly.
and soda.
Not here. It's give me a Tito's and tonic or something like that. So you're going to go with Tito's. So let's back and forth this thing. So
Okay.
you're going to build one bottle. I'll build one bottle.
Yep. Okay. Tito's is easily number one because of how many drinks it can be used in. You could do martinis with it. You could do Cosmos with it. You could do sodas
so
with
versatile.
it. Yeah.
So I'm struggling because I have it broken down into spirit type first.
Yeah.
And my wife will drink one of 2 things, vodka or tequila.
Yeah.
And I want a few different types of whiskey or
Same.
bourbons,
Yeah.
right? So for me, that has to play into it. Or if you have guests coming over, and this isn't going to include beer, but just 5 spirit brands.
Okay.
I went back and forth between, because I didn't want to fill all 5 bottles with vodka.
Right.
I went back and forth between Tito's or Deep Eddy Cranberry. And I think for my house, my home bar, it's Deep Eddy's Cranberry.
Yeah. We drink the shit out of that.
Because
all
that
the
and Sprite
time.
Zero, it's so easy. You don't mix it. It's
already gone.
Holy shit. So I'm going to go Deep Eddy Cranberry
Wow.
instead of Tito's.
So 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are both vodkas.
1 and 2 are both vodka.
One is straight vodka,
Now,
one's a flavored vodka.
and you know what? I actually, by the way, here you go. Deep Eddy Cranberry.
That's it. You put that with Sprite Zero. The reason we call it the skinny bitch is because there's no calories.
None.
It's Sprite Zero, and then you have them by the bar. Or that's a heavy pour. Yeah, that's you have them by the pool. The beauty of it is, you take fresh limes. With this type size, I would do a half a lime. Yep. You and your wife would probably do a full lime.
She's lime forward. I don't put lime in anything if I'm making it for me.
Yeah.
Other than a
And
marg.
so you do that, and lime to taste, it is fantastic. It's light, it's great. And you could drink it when it's 100 degrees outside, or you could drink it when it's 30 degrees outside. Equally as good. So
what's your bottle number? So, and that's the hard thing because Tito's is so versatile. So if you had people over and maybe they haven't been over before, Tito's could be, because you can make so many things. You make a martini. You're not going to make
Right.
a cranberry martini.
No.
Right? You're not going to make, well, cranberry mules I make at home. So,
Sure.
But I'm still going to stick with Deep Eddy Cranberry, really for the volume of which my wife and I drink that particular spirit.
A cranberry mule.
It's fantastic.
That sounds
It's fantastic. I do it with this one.
fantastic.
Or the Ruby Red, which is, grape, Deep Eddy
Grapefruit juice?
grapefruit. Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone Tito's, we've gone Deep Eddy.
Spirit type and label.
My mind tells me that we're in Texas and the margarita is almost always number one. There's a bunch of different good tequila brands, but selfishly, I don't want to have 2 vodkas and a tequila in the top 3.
Exactly.
I would say the single best bourbon, you could drink it straight, you could add it to anything. The price point's not high. It is affordable, usually easy to find-ish, is Buffalo Trace.
God. Yeah.
To me, Buffalo Trace is the best all-around bourbon because you can mix it, you can drink it straight, you can
It's
do
lower
so
proof,
many
so it
things,
can
right?
you can soften it. You can
Don't have a big heavy burn with
Right.
it. So I would say my number 2 bottle, our 3 bottle overall, Buffalo Trace.
Okay, my personal number 2 bottle, and we're going to each build our 5. Okay,
Okay.
because this is your house and then my
Okay,
house.
all right.
Okay. I mean, Buffalo's second on my list as well, and I'll tell you why. Also, for all the same reasons you just mentioned, but because it was the base spirit of the Esquire. That's our our take on a strawberry whiskey sour
Smash.
smash.
Yeah.
I think that
I guess technically it is a sour because
it's a
got
sour
lemon
because
juice.
it has no mint. We don't have mint in it. Mint makes it a smash. My drink, the Black Betty, that's a smash. And if I'd kept it on the menu, would still beat the Esquire. You heard it here first.
Still be second to the Esquire like it was when it was on the
Yep.
menu.
So I am also going to choose for my number 2 bottle, Buffalo Trace, because it was the primary spirit, I think, as we were growing up in our whiskey tasting and learning to like it more, bourbon. Like, it was the one because it was good in everything. And for those who like to drink it neat or just on a big rock or something, it's great that way too. Mm-hmm. I fucking hate dogs.
Why do you have a dog that just appeared in your lap?
I don't.
That's weird, bro. There's not even any peanut butter involved.
Dude, can I be a? What am I putting peanut butter on things? Do you do that for your dog too? Do you have private moments with peanut butter and a dog?
No.
Dude, can I be a freaking James Bond villain right now?
You could be. You got the mustache going. You've got the dog in your lap.
Apparently.
Instead of the cat, you've got a dog. I don't know that I can do this podcast with you with a freaking dog licking your face.
All right. So I'm cutting here to let this fucking retarded dog outside.
Okay. Okay.
Not for long. Not for long. She's going to scratch in 5 seconds. Okay, I'll chop that up somehow. So my number 2 bottle, Josh, is also going to be Buffalo Trace. I like a lot of bourbons more now, but as a solid go-to, friends, family, can make anything that's ever going to have bourbon or whiskey in it. It's a solid number 2, which, as you know, is my favorite thing. A good solid number 2.
You love a good solid number 2.
Yep.
And I think that it's got like name recognition too. People know if you're serving Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
If they ask you like, "Oh, what burners do you have?" and you say Buffalo Trace, they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm
dang,
in.
okay.
Yeah, that's awesome." You're not saying like, "Oh, it's whatever."
Jack Daniels,
Jack
old number
or
7.
Jim Beam. Got some Jack Honey we could do some shots
Yeah.
with. Which underrated. Jack Honey.
Tennessee
was some-
honey,
dude,
man. Tennessee honey.
If you're in Nashville at the bars, going up and down Broadway, almost every one of those bands, if you try to buy them a shot, they will tell you Jack Honey.
Yep. It also coats the throat.
Smart. Yeah.
You know what that's like.
What?
Yeah. So bottle number 3. What's your third bottle?
Bottle number 3. So I've got
Home
a
bar.
bourbon. I've got a vodka. I'm a little torn because I want to be selfish and go to another bourbon that I love.
Yep.
But
I know where you're going.
for the good of the people, for everybody
sir.
else involved,
Yes, sir.
I got to put a tequila in there.
And boy, have we been through a billion different labels and a lot of good ones.
We really have. And so,
Because again, in Texas, a margarita, whether it's at home or at a bar, Because in Texas, it gets so fucking hot that you gotta have a patio in the band if you're gonna open a bar. And on that patio, you better have a damn good margarita.
Yeah, you're right. And so you can go with a brand like Lalo, which is our favorite at the restaurant, just because of the price point's great, the quality's great, the branding is great.
It's a premium
on
tequila.
point.
Yeah.
And so most of what we do there is Lalo. We've got a bunch of different options, but I'll tell you, it's hard to beat. And I'll credit one of our other favorite members who we've named a drink after, big old boy. He let us try his Pantalones Reposado.
Oh, man.
And the Pantalones brand is going to take over. Just everybody listen to me when I say that. Go buy a bottle of Pantalones tequila.
Shout out Arkansas.
Yeah.
Tyler Harrison, one of our favorite
Oh, I
people.
thought we weren't saying names.
Well, he'd be
Tyler
proud
won't
of
care.
it.
Yeah, that's true. We need to tell him now, hey, hashtag Tyler, hashtag Arkansas. Love that dude.
Jeff and Brandy Libby are the ones that we didn't name that I don't know that we have their approval to say their name. Yeah. But here's
so
to
now
you
you're-
guys
now
too.
you're name dropping.
Wink, wink. Yep. Which is against my rules.
So I think in my home bar,
I didn't
probably
expect
going-
that. Honestly,
yeah,
I didn't
I'm
expect
probably-
that.
Because, dude, my wife drinks a shit ton of margaritas, and all of her bougie white friends all drink a shit ton of margaritas and Prosecco. Ooh,
Nope, because it's not a
it's
spirit.
not-
Not a spirit.
okay. I was going to ask because that has to be A1 and A2.
Well, so
we
the next
we basically own stock in La Marca. at
next
this point.
categories are beer/wine, and you
Okay.
can only pick 2 of each one.
Okay. Sweet.
Yep.
So spirits only. We've got
third
Tito's.
bottle. Yep.
We've got Buffalo Trace. I think I'm gonna go
Pantalones Rep.
Pantalones Rep. Yeah.
So
So
I'll
we can
tell
make
you-
some badass margaritas.
I'll tell you why I wasn't expecting that. The real reason that I brought it into the restaurant in the first place is because I have a giant bromance for Matthew McConaughey.
You do.
Matthew,
It's pretty embarrassing.
can't wait for you to be on a bar. They said it'll be. We'll get you a little publicity. I know
He's just right down the road.
I know he lacks for exposure, and so we'll bring him into the modern day world. But Matthew, Texas kid, hell, anytime you get caught playing bongos naked in the great state of Texas, relatable. So it's surprising for me because you don't have the bromance that you love that so much, and I wasn't even thinking about that, but because you said it, I'm like, shit, that's way up there on the tequila list for me.
Yeah.
Because when we had on another one of our pods we do at the restaurant, Watch Us Drink, Diesel, a great bartender of ours, you mentioned, hey, let's do Palomas for this episode. I've never heard you order a Paloma ever.
Hey, shout out to DK.
Yep.
Because that's where I was introduced to the Paloma.
Hey,
down
there we
at,
go.
Down at the beach, whatever that was,
That's
how many
right.
years ago.
God, yeah, shout out Cinnamon Shores and Palomas.
And he does them with Squirt or Fresca.
Squirt is the original Paloma.
Yeah, but he
So in
does them
Mexico.
with Fresca,
He
right?
does.
Okay.
It's a little bit lighter and there's more fizz in it.
Dude, I love both.
Yeah. But
Now, I don't do a tahine rim,
no.
as you found out.
Yep. And especially not right during a podcast.
You also don't do a tahine rim well. We all saw that.
I still like it
Yeah.
if I'm expecting it.
Uh-huh.
But when you're
Sure.
doing a pod, you're not worrying about what you're drinking. You're just like, take a sip in
Yeah,
between
you're just
words.
giving rim jobs
It's
here and
rim
there,
jobs
and-
on a tahine rim. But Diesel during that day is like, hey, Josh, one of Palomas, what tequila do you? And I was like, I think I have, because we did a big pants party. Pantalones is Spanish for pants. Their branding is also amazing because it's him and
Yes.
his wife blurred out without pants on everything, which is hilarious. Maybe next on a bar, they said, we'll just do it pantsless. And we'll get Matthew to come on and do a pants party with us.
I think there's some
Going a little
commercials
off
to
the
be had
rails.
there.
Yep.
But
I can black dot things. Little dot for you. Even smaller dot for me.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah. But we had a bottle of Pantalones Reposado, and I was like, yeah, just make it out of Pantalones Reposado. I'd only ever had their Blanco at the tasting we did. And damn it, if that wasn't one of the best tequila cocktails I've ever had. Now I'm even more excited for our family trip with DK.
Yeah.
To take Pantalones Reposado back on that trip.
You're damn right.
I'm not going Pantalones Reposado, and I'm not going Reposado.
Okay.
But my third bottle is also a bottle of tequila.
Okay.
Because
I'm intrigued.
Because when the wife is happy, my life is happy.
Yeah.
And
you better have tequila. And you
Bro.
better have limes when your wife is around.
bro, fresh lime. She doesn't,
No lime juice bullshit.
bro.
You will hear a string of cuss words like you
Yeah.
have never heard if you try to give
What
lime
I-
juice to either Your wife mostly, or my wife.
Because your wife is the advocator for everybody.
Right.
And enabler for my wife drinking what she
all,
wants
yes.
for all. But the interesting thing is I sub out 100% lime juice from the bottle a lot, and she'll never tell the
Don't
difference.
tell her that.
But I am going to put a tequila up there.
Good news is she's not going to watch this.
100%. She'll never watch it. I am going to put a tequila up there because it's super important. Because what you want when you're building your home bar, guys, and the reason this makes sense is because this is how we built our spirit library at Commonwealth.
Yeah. You
It's
want
like
quality and you want variety.
And what do we like from a dude's perspective? What do our wives drink at any bar we go to, right? And so tequila's on my list. You did mention it by name. It's become my favorite Blanco tequila, not because it doesn't have any additives, but what you want in tequila is you don't want a bitter burn.
Right.
And it's hard to find in Blanco tequilas in general. So I'm going to give you, it was down between Juan Lobo Blanco, John Wolf, friend of the restaurant. Hopefully he'll play here this summer, who I've grown to love his tequila. He's got all three lines, Reposado, Añejo, and Blanco. His is great. But Lalo, I think, is going to win that third spot for me.
Yeah.
Lalo,
great choice.
it's both premium, but at a great price point. It's super clean. Like when I'm going to drink a margarita, when it's 110 outside, salted rim, no tahini, but a good kosher salted rim, big ice cubes, and a very clean. Like I would rather taste the lime and a little bit of that orange Cointreau, like orange liqueur. I would rather taste that part than a bitter, agave forward Blanco tequila. So I'm going to go. For me, it's Deep Eddy Cranberry. It's Buffalo Trace. That's one we're landing on. And Lalo Blanco. You've gone Tito's. Great choice. Buffalo as well. We've agreed on that. And
Pantalones
Reposado. I can't wait. This whole conversation has got me super excited for the beach.
Yeah, heck yeah.
My wife's going to flip out.
We
that I'm
are
excited
going
about
to
the
do
beach.
an episode of this from the beach.
With Aaron and DK.
Aaron and DK. Our families pair up with two other families every year. We started this 4 years ago.
4 years ago, and we've done it every year since.
Yeah, and we rent houses down at this way too expensive bougie place.
Yeah.
It's a
Guys,
Texas beach. So
go into debt. It is the American way.
Yeah.
But to have an experience, a vacation, make memories, not transactions.
Yep.
Okay?
You're damn right. Like, buy the boat.
You do
Take
it.
the vacation.
Hell yeah.
Go do it, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow, number one. And guess what? You may be poor AF tomorrow. Learn that lesson.
Also, I've been poor before.
Yeah, come on.
But
I'd rather be poor with some memories and some
100%.
experiences than just
And you've
poor.
never seen a trailer hitch on a hearse.
That's right.
Can't take this shit with
No,
you.
you can't.
Come on.
You can't.
The American way.
Okay, so we've got
Fourth bottle now.
We got a vodka, we've got a bourbon, and we've got a tequila.
And I think I'm assuming you're thinking like me. Like now that my wife and guests are taken care of,
Everybody's
the
taken care
last
of.
2 bottles belong to me.
Yeah. And I think we're both going to agree on number 4. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
It's up there right now. A couple of bottles. I'm assuming. We haven't talked about this, by the way. I just gave this question
We
to
just
Josh.
know each other, and we know what we drink and how we drink it. I'm going Eagle Rare.
Ah, dude. Okay.
gotta
4th
be-
bottle for each
Yeah.
is Eagle Rare.
Has to be.
It's the greatest bourbon of all time, into perpetuity.
It's
I
a
don't
little bit
care what
higher
you
price
say.
point than a lot higher price point than
Buffalo,
Trace.
yeah.
Harder to find usually, but it is so freaking good
Yep.
that it has to be on the list. I would have put it way higher, except that
You got to
it
manage
is-
for your guests, the wives,
right.
the things.
Yeah, the first thing you're thinking about is hosting other people. Let's get everybody taken care of, and you're exactly right. Number 4 is for me Eagle Rare.
My number 4 is also Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
We really didn't talk about this.
I'm surprised that you didn't put it up higher, just out
know.
of selfishness.
But because
you're
I'm
a pretty selfish
I
person.
am. I'm absolutely
So-
selfish. But I know if I take care of some specific people in my life,
take care of them, they'll take care of you.
no, I'll take care of
Oh,
myself.
okay.
If I take care of them, then I can take care
there
of
you
myself.
go. Okay, sweet.
Marriage, everybody.
Marriage. Yep, there you go. Hey,
that's the
cheers to
tagline.
marriage.
Take care of her, and then take care of yourself. I put Eagle Rare 4th. It is my hands down favorite bourbon, Josh.
Yes.
Hands down. And we have had every variation of, with the exception of the 25 year that was literally just released. Buffalo is cheaper, more frequent, more easy to find
Prefer
in any
to say
liquor
it's more
store.
affordable.
Affordable. There you go. Not cheaper. Eagle Rare, it's not that it's hard to find, but when it's out, a lot of people go to it because it is so great, and it's not in the same volume that Buffalo Trace Distillery releases it at. But you can't make a bad cocktail with it. Now, the purists out there online are going to be like, why are you mixing Eagle Rare in a cocktail? That's how I drink my stuff, guys.
That's really funny because I've literally been to places. One specifically, we were eating lunch at this French place in New York with the kids last
Christmas?
2 Christmases ago. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, what's your, whiskey sour? And they're like, oh, and through conversation, I learned they don't do it up. They don't do it with egg white, but still a damn good. So I'm like, okay, let's do the first one with Old Forester 86. No problem. What's your upcharge for premium bourbon? And they're like, oh, like $2. And I'm like, so I can get a whiskey sour down on the rocks
Eagle Rare
with Eagle Rare for $2 extra? They're like, yes, sir. And I'm like,
sign me up.
Done.
And by the way, don't pour anything in my whiskey sours.
She came back to the table and was like, hey, the bartender wants to be sure that you want your Eagle Rare mixed like in this drink. You didn't want it like on the side with another whiskey sour. I'm like, no, ma'am. I want it as the spirit in my mixed drink because I love it. And it's fantastic. And it's so good. And so she went back. She literally came back a second time and was like, hey,
just want to make sure.
The bartender would really prefer if you drink this straight. And I'm like, listen, I own a bar in Texas. I want this drink the way that I want it. Please just tell them to do it. You told me it's $2. So I'll pay my $2 and I'm going to have probably 3 more of these.
Exactly.
And she did. She brought it and it was fantastic. Fantastic.
I can tell you, and I can tell you 2 people specifically, both of whom are on our bourbon council. They're going to be like, no. Drink that shit neat. Anything over a certain price and a proof, like drink it neat. No, that's not the way I like it.
No, however you like it, that's how you drink it.
That's it, right. And so for me, I think there's a lot of effort. On occasion, I think you and I, if we're in a certain setting at the house or entertaining, or just feeling fancy, want to drink with our pinkies out on a coupe.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll make a whiskey sour, but usually not. Usually that's what we order at a bar to tell the true test of a bar.
Usually we'll do bourbon lemonades.
Bingo.
Which is no egg white, but it's the same.
It's
lemon juice,
simple
a little
syrup.
Simple,
and bourbon. And a good bourbon.
Yeah.
Make it with Buffalo.
And it's so good. Especially light during the summer. We have 1 million Buffalo lemonades
but
at the pool.
Yeah, I think a lot of the bourbon people out there are usually, what's your daily drinker, what's your Saturday, and then what's your special occasion. So if I had to classify this like that, Eagle Rare is my Saturday.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go through, but I don't mind drinking on any night of the week, but I don't want to go through that bottle so fast.
Yeah.
So if I have it, it's going to be my 5th bottle. I'm curious what yours is going to be. If I have it, I'll make an old fashioned out of this particular spirit to be named in a minute. But on Saturdays, man, it's for Eagle Rare old fashions. Yeah. And that's my cocktail of choice that I'm making at home. It doesn't take any time. You get the ice malts from Amazon, simple ingredients. Yeah. I know my own recipe, like the way I like it. So much, in fact, Josh, that all 4 of my children, and I have them 19 through 11, all 4 of them can make an Eagle Rare old fashioned for me without asking me the recipe. They know how to do it, what glass to build it in, and how to stir it.
You are appropriately preparing them for life. Well
exactly.
done.
Thank you.
Great job, Dad.
But Eagle Rare, I didn't think that we would share 2 bottles, if not 3, in what's next.
Well, what's interesting is I know what your 5th bottle is going to be.
So now you're choosing a different one?
No. I love that bottle as well. And I would buy that bottle every time I see it.
You just
and
can't find it.
Every time I have seen it, I have bought it. We have literally procured that bottle from our great friends up north in Canada.
Gracias.
Who are upset with us right now because of the tariff issue.
Oh, bro, we got to talk about that too.
Yeah, they're taking our bottles off the shelf, which, you know what? Fine, more for us. Send us all of the Buffalo Trace Distillery bottles that you have.
By the way, they've already paid
shit.
for it. That's the dumb thing. Yeah. Like they've paid for it to put it on their shelves, and now they're taking it off.
We're not going to sell it, although we've already bought it.
Yeah. I would sell it and then just not order it again, but that's a business owner on a bar. They said,
in fact, what I would do, getting into economics here, is I would say, hey, we are banning this bourbon.
Double the price.
Starting in 2 weeks.
That's right.
All we have left is what we have in inventory, and then I would triple the price of every single effing bottle that I have, and it would be a great heyday. Because you know what's going to happen? In 3 or 4 or 5 days,
free trade is going to go back and forth now.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah. We were just kidding. Yeah. We're fine. We were just in a little, marriage spat. We're good now. And then I'm going to have made all that freaking cash in those 3 or 4 days.
Yep.
It's going to be great. But my 5th bottle is going to surprise you
I can't wait. I can't wait.
because our particular bar, we have had the opportunity to buy some bottles that people have never even seen before. We have a Double Eagle Very Rare.
We do.
We have an OFC
Old fashioned
1996,
copper, 1996.
and we have a Weller Millennium.
Super rare. Hardest one. Only one that I've seen.
Yeah.
Period. In the
We
flesh.
were told that there's only 2 bottles in the entire state of Texas. We have one because of all the other shit that we
Right.
bought and held.
Right.
And that's the goal. That's why we bought it. But we also have friends that come and with their business and with, all their stuff that they do, they set up in the speakeasy and they want us there for whatever reason. I don't know why. We don't belong.
No, we definitely
But
don't.
they let us be a part of that, and we're just ourselves. And they're like, "Hey, we want to buy a bottle or a pour, not the bottle.
Yeah,
we
definitely
want to
not
buy a
bottle.
pour of whatever." Some of these pours are like $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 a piece for a
Ounce and a half.
1.5 ounce pour. And
You're welcome.
Fortunate enough,
Buy a boat, go to the beach, buy bourbon that you shouldn't buy.
yeah. I was fortunate enough to be present during one of those said meet and greets, after dinner deal. Came to the speakeasy. We were
which
hanging
one
out.
of us wasn't present for that?
You weren't there,
Yeah, that's right.
but we had the
probably
privilege
working.
of opening the bottle of Weller Millennium, and there's not many things that I would say are worth $1,500 for a 1.5 ounce pour. Weller Millennium is worth every penny, every freaking penny, every single one. It was fantastic, hands down, the best I've ever had. And I've had all of those others that we just mentioned, but Weller Millennium is hands down the best I've ever had. So if it's like, hey, you get to put this in your home bar, then I'm going to say, hey, I get that bottle and I'm going to put Weller Millennium in my bar. And that's my special, very special occasion.
So I'm gonna change the rules on you.
Now, I won't mix that.
The
by the way.
100%.
That's not that I won't
Listen,
mix, but-
guys, come on.
Yeah.
We do have some boundaries.
And when we drink it, it will be 1/2 ounce pours so that we can drink it a lot.
I'm going to change the rules because I do not disagree with you.
what you
Because
do.
right now, Double Eagle Very Rare is the best bourbon I've ever tried in my life, and I've tried the Millennium. I didn't try.
You try the Millennium?
I think I tried the Millennium, but I didn't try the old fashioned copper.
No. You've
was
tried the OFC, but you haven't tried the Millennium.
That was the one. So I haven't, and that's a blend. Like maybe I'll try and post it on this video, like the blend of what Millennium is. All of it's super long aged. It's incredible. The story is amazing too. But the Double Eagle Very Rare is the thing that I absolutely is my favorite bourbon taste of all time. But I think we have to put a little bit of realism in
Got
this.
to be realistic.
Because I know that you, if given the opportunity to buy for your home bar, would actually buy, having now tasted Millennium, to buy it.
Would.
And it's going to be thousands of dollars. But let's go to something you have had or currently have in your home bar, which those of you who don't know Josh or been to his house, still gives him so many fucking options. Some of which, dude, we haven't tapped.
No.
Okay, so let's keep it to something you've had previously or something you currently have in your home bar.
Okay, that's going to make the top 5 list.
It's going to make the top 5 list. And don't skirt away from what you think I'm about to say.
That does change the rules.
It does.
So a couple of very high contenders for me. I do love Caribou.
Thank you.
Caribou is fantastic. It's a Canadian whiskey as well. That was what we were alluding to earlier.
Canada.
Really hard to find.
Yep.
Here in the States.
Here.
We have a Canadian friend who goes up there and he's like, it's at every freaking CVS and Walmart and Sam's everywhere in Canada. Like, this shit's easy to find. So, road trip to Canada
Let's
for
go.
a podcast.
I don't think they're letting Americans in right
It's a
now.
business
We're
expense.
still
Let's
fighting.
give it a couple of days.
Let's give
we'll
it at
get
least
through this
a
little
couple
marriage
days.
spat we're in right now. So Caribou is definitely on the list.
Absolutely.
Also on the list, I do love several of the Weller versions. There's the Weller Green Label, the special edition or special reserve. The
12, the black label,
the 12,
the red one. Yep.
Yeah. So that's probably what I would go to next is a Weller 12. The black label, the Weller 12 is fantastic.
And a decent price point if you can
When
actually
you can
find that
I
too.
think I've only seen probably 5 or 6 bottles in my life, and I bought 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
So
That's
that would be my 5th.
That's a great choice. I had to, obviously, I do homework on the questions I know I'm about to ask. So I've gone through both my home bar here, and there's a lot of niche things that
Niche.
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 Are you sure it's niche?
I'm pretty sure.
I guess it is quiche. It's not kitsch.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm going to fit in a niche. I'm
Yeah.
going to fit right in that niche.
Yeah.
I'm going to fit in that niche.
I'm from Texas. It's
is a
niche.
niche.
I'm going to say niche.
There's no T. in
Although
niche.
you have to enunciate as we
Do you
discuss
call
often.
it kitsch or do you call it quiche?
Bro,
You don't call it anything.
No.
You don't even know what that is.
No. No. I have no clue what the fuck you're talking about right now.
I feel like it's got sauce on it or something.
So my niche, okay, I'm fancy apparently.
you go.
My niche. We've gotten, especially when people hear or see or find us on socials, our bar, that is, and see what we do.
Yeah.
It is one of the perks. They'll just send us free shit, to try. And there have been a few that I actually really, really like. I will say that the Weller was up there for me. The Caribou, I have it up there right now. I have a half a bottle left, and it is from our friend from Canada who brought it down because you can't find it anywhere. So that was going to be my 5th bottle.
Yeah. But now, since you changed the rules.
Right. But I have it. I have it in my bar right
Okay.
now. I do make an old fashioned with it. It's fantastic. It's 80 proof. It's low proof. That is one of the few that I really enjoy drinking neat. I just don't like to finish it that fast.
Yeah.
I'm not a fast finisher, Josh. I like
what
to
I've
take
heard.
my time with things.
Not what I've heard.
Ask my wife. She'll tell you what you just said. But I think I'm going to go somewhere else.
Okay.
And I only ever found this from you.
I'm intrigued.
Okay. And it's going to surprise you. I'm a little surprised you didn't mention it
Okay.
because there is something that you and I drink when there's nothing else to drink, or when we know that we're going to have more than 3.
Okay.
Okay. And what I'm finding out is, damn it, the Canadians are good.
Are you going where I think you're going?
Yeah.
This is going to make your top 5 that you have
It
to
is.
have in your home bar.
If you're talking about, by the way, my bottle is at your house.
No, it's not.
Oh, then we drank it.
It was.
Okay. Okay.
She
Then
gone.
we drank it.
She gone.
We found through you, I didn't bring this to you. A lot of times I think I bring things, hey, let's try this. Let's make a cocktail out of it or whatever. And you're like, okay, the true test of a good whiskey, bourbon, Canadian, whatever. How does it fit with Coke Zero?
Yeah.
And something that we have always gone back to, it used to be Crown and Coke for you.
Yep.
And it was like, so I have a 5th of Crown somewhere with a giant handle on it back there. There it is.
Yeah.
Because of when you would come over. I didn't drink it. But I don't know how you found it. I don't know where it peeked its little head out to you. But in my home bar, because I already have Buffalo Trace, good easy bourbon for everybody.
Yep.
Eagle Rare, my favorite bourbon of all time.
Of all time.
The daytime drinker, mowing the yard, playing football with my boys, sitting around the pool, watching TV, watching a football game. I hate that I like now so many Canadian whiskeys.
Yeah.
But dude, Pendleton whiskey.
Pendleton whiskey is fantastic.
Distilled and made in Canada, shipped to the U.S. I like it. You know, it's very cowboy. The Pendleton Rodeo is a thing.
I do think
up
they
in Oregon.
actually bottle it at the Buffalo Trace Distillery in
They
Kentucky.
might. Yeah.
I think they do.
I don't know enough of the history, but I think I think what you get from Josh and I is, listen, we're not afraid to mix anything with a little Coke Zero.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I'll
Or
put
any
Pappy
kind of
with Coke
cocktail.
Zero,
Yeah.
Fuck around.
Dude, one of us owns a bottle of Pappy, and maybe on the next, on a bar they
We're
said,
making our favorite cocktails next week. You said it. So maybe that makes its way into the list.
is Pappy and Coke Zero going to be our favorite cocktail of all time?
How many views would we get if we did that? Would we get still 2 only all week?
Matt
Or-
Pittman from Meat Church did it on one of his TikToks or YouTube videos, and literally same thing. And it was just regular Coke. He had a bottle of Pappy. He's like, I don't give a shit who says what about this. I'm putting it with a little Coke. And he really did, straight from the bottle. We're doing that.
Okay. Hashtag Meat Church.
Yeah, Matt Pittman. Hey, we're coming after you. We'll see your Pappy and Coke heavy.
And also Meat Church and Commonwealth drinks. Great barbecue.
I mean,
we have some great local barbecue here, which we may talk about at some point.
You know what? Let's get Steven on the pod. Let's get Rossler, our boy Steven, with Rossler's Blue Cord Barbecue.
We've got Steven on the pod. We could get Dusty.
Oh, come on. Dusty, are you kidding? The greatest barbecue in Central Texas, especially here, Belton Temple, Waco area.
Yeah. Continues to make the top 50 on Texas Monthly over and over and over again.
The brisket that I go back to time and time again. I mean, we'll have to talk about Mama Miller.
Oh, yeah.
And her pastries and breads
and
her desserts.
banana pudding.
And I'm not a banana pudding guy. I'm going to die on that hill. Which is part of the reason
why I'm carrying a little extra holiday weight now in March.
Shit, bro. You know what we're going to talk about is what are the best and worst desserts of all time? Because banana pudding is on my worst. And it's in every barbecue restaurant ever. I hate it. I hate it.
Wow.
I hate it.
I don't even know how to respond to you right now.
Mom Miller, I've never had yours.
I don't even know who you are right now.
It's a blanket statement because I don't like it anywhere.
So take this as a little bit of just grain of salt for, consider the source. Mom Miller, he doesn't like your banana pudding. But he also eats cranberry sauce out of a can every Thanksgiving.
It's my favorite side on Thanksgiving.
Consider the
I'll
source.
die on that hill. Yeah. By the way, did you know you can make a great whiskey cocktail out of canned cranberry sauce? We're making it at the bar.
Nope.
I make the recipes at the bar anyway, so
we're going to make it next week on our episode where we're making drinks.
We are making a canned cranberry whiskey smash.
Okay, we also have to make a Negroni
and try it.
And then we have to try to make a good Negroni. Next week's episode is going to be 6 hours long. We're going to be hammered, but
we got to do that one from your house so we can be at the bar and have all the Pappy and Coke. Here's what I'm going to do for our Pappy and Coke.
Okay.
I'm going to grab a couple of the True Blue Mexican Cokes from the restaurant.
Glass bottle Cokes.
Bring them down. Because if we're going to do Pappy and Coke, we got to do Pappy and Coke heavy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The Mexican pure cane.
Yep.
Sugar. Yeah. Makes a great Batanga. Look it up.
Oh, the Batanga is a great drink. We enjoyed that on National Batanga Day.
We did, which was later to find out a made-up holiday from a bunch of cocktail bartenders that are online. But it's still an actual drink in Mexico. It turned out to be an incredible drink. We're gonna make that too.
We're gonna make sure Batanga Day stays forever.
There's just something about Batanga Day.
Yeah,
that's like badonkadonk.
Badonkadonk.
Like Batanga Day is gonna be a thing. So we've got our 5 bottles. Okay. So mine in review, I'm gonna go Deep Eddy Cranberry.
Okay.
Buffalo Trace.
Yep.
Eagle Rare.
Yep.
Oh, nope. I put the tequila third.
You did, yeah.
We're going to go Lalo Tequila, then Eagle Rare.
You said Lalo Blanco.
Lalo Blanco. They only make Blanco. Now they do have a high proof, 100 proof tequila. That's dangerous. But Lalo Blanco, and I'm going to finish with Pendleton. Not because it's the best of the best, but it's because
we drink so much of it. We really should buy stock in Pendleton because of how much we drink.
Pendleton, come on. Support your boys down here.
Literally, though, almost every day I'll have a Pendleton and Coke Zero.
Yeah.
It is so
it's a great
easy
little nightcap.
Good and normal. You're right.
So what are your 5 bottles in review?
So we went Tito's vodka just because so versatile.
Copper top,
so many things. Then we went Buffalo Trace. Then what was our third? Oh, a Pantalones Reposado.
Yep.
Then we went Eagle Rare. Can't go wrong with Eagle Rare.
You can't.
And then we went Weller Millennium.
Boy, you went there.
A $25,000 bottle that, if I can have it in my bar.
Yeah. Now, that's what we would charge, not necessarily retail, but the retail price is still up there.
Yeah. 8-9 grand probably.
Yeah, at least if you could ever find it.
Right. Which, good luck.
I'm curious. I am curious what the wives would say. Like, we are, okay? We talk so much shit about them. They're lovely people, amazing. I
do think yours actually...
she's waiting in the garage.
Yeah.
And she knows we've been recording the pod. So thank you. Shout out.
Careful.
But I'm curious what their 5 bottles would be if you told them, listen, you can't just think about yourself.
Right.
Okay.
You have to entertain for other people. They wouldn't care or give a shit about bourbon
Right.
or whiskey, but they would know they need to have something.
But I'm curious what they would say. Like, do they remember any of the names of any bourbons or whiskeys that we like? You know what I mean? Would they think about us like we thought about them? Because both of them, bro, are number one.
Yeah,
Tito's, Deep Eddy Cranberry, like we're thinking about other people first.
I agree.
That's what we do here.
That's what we do.
That's just what we do here.
Okay, so are we going to the next versions of this question, or how far?
No, this is pretty
far are we
much
in?
it because I don't have my glasses on, but it has to have been. Oh, it's time.
It's been a while. It's
been a bit.
more than the 20 minutes that it feels
It's been a minute.
All
So,
right, well.
look, please, hey, you guys, like and subscribe. Share this with your friends. We're going to keep talking about the bar business, the restaurant business, the hospitality business, and more than anything, small business.
Yeah.
How hopefully you see a little bit how our vision, especially if you visited Commonwealth,
Yeah.
of how it kind of came about. All the work that we did ahead of time for you, making and drinking so much for you.
We drank
out there
for you
We did. I still
and your mama.
Hey, we drink for you and your mom. But we hope you find just a little bit of camaraderie out of this thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We want you to identify or hate the things we talk about. Either way.
Yeah. Comment.
Yeah.
Send to your friends. Share. Do all the things.
things.
I don't even know all the social media shit, but
Yeah.
I know it's important.
Your kids,
so do all
your
the
kids will
things.
show you.
Do all the things.
And we are looking currently for a sponsor. So if you're one of the 10 bottles mentioned here today, and
You're saying there's a chance.
you want to take care of your boys over here that's about to blow up. I was about to say like the World Trade. That's a rap song. That wasn't like
Oh, wow.
that went dark for 9/11. So RIP. But I'll edit that out. Josh, we got to finish always like we
Okay.
start,
I saved
bro.
just a little bit just for this.
Yeah, just a hair
For the good of the people.
of the people.